Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life. I am Derek Campbell, filling in for Kyle Case, and today my co-pilot is Michelle, and she's filling in for Jeff.
Yes, we're the second string, so
Yes.
bear with us.
We are the Pine Riders. We got out of the box today.
That's right. We
So-
feel special.
Well, welcome to it. Today, I wanted to talk about one of the hottest topics in the country, and it has to do with children and schools, and it has nothing to do with politics. So,
Oh, good.
Kind of
We're going to give
interesting,
everyone a break from that. That'll be nice.
yeah. So our kids have been learning, getting smarter, quicker, better, faster for almost a year now.
That's the hope.
Yeah, right. And it's almost over. The year's almost done. My daughter told me this morning. She says, "Dad, the year's over in a week."
Yeah, my kids are already checked out. Like, parties are going on. Teachers are taking down bulletin boards. Like, they're in the final stretch. But we end early. You know, some schools don't get out till mid to later June. So
Yeah,
we're a little early here in St. George. But it's because summer comes earlier. I mean, things are heating up here. So it feels like it's time.
yeah. My daughter was telling me how hot it is already because it's summer, Dad. And I don't think we're officially in summer until June, right?
Well, that might be true.
According to the calendar.
We are ready. I
Well-
think everyone's ready when the school year ends. Teachers are ready. Parents are tired of routines. Kids are unruly.
Well, they have a lot to look forward to, right? They get the video games. They get to eat breakfast whenever they want, sleep in till whenever they want, just go play.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of parents don't really abide by that. I always give my kids like the benefit of the doubt for a week or two, and then I find out that no structure leads to a lot of fighting, so then we kind of have to get a little structure back.
Yeah. Well, my kids, I know they look forward to having the break, and every summer we usually go on a little camping trip with my wife's family, and I know they look forward to that. That's kind of our thing, is the camping. And every once in a while we'll do a little trip. We'll, go somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, we do the same, and we look forward to that time to have family time and vacation time. I saw a little thing on the internet that said summer break pros and cons, and let me just give you the highlights. The first, which you already mentioned, not having to get up in the morning. I think that that's great for kids and parents because we sometimes get tired of that battle. Also, not having to battle to get to school on time. You know, it can be kind of a mad rush. I often joke that it takes me 2.5 hours to get ready for work, even though I only live 2 miles away. And by the time I get there, I'm tired. I don't know if you feel that pain at all, but I'm ready for that, an ease in that schedule. But then there's the fun things. There's the warmer weather, the barbecues, the pool time, and the travel time.
Yeah.
And those are all things that we really love and look forward to in the summer. And then, do you want to know some cons? Because we're just we're just all about the benefit right now. I know, but there is like too much together time, and you tend to get that signal when it's time to go back to school, I think. But there's also the problems with keeping kids entertained. I mean, as a working mother, I feel like I have to program so that they can have things to do when I'm not there. But I think it's just as hard for parents that stay at home trying to figure out what to do. And then one of the biggest problems is no routine. I mean, as great as that sounds. And then the expense of keeping families entertained over the summer because you always kind of want to play more and do more. So, but it's good, bad. And I think it's like just enough time. And then as much as we anticipate getting out of school, we look forward to them going back to school.
Yeah. I don't think we realize how much our schedules are tied to school, and then how good it is to have that structure. I mean, obviously we need the break, and everybody needs a break from everything, moderation. But even with me, my schedule, in the mornings, I'm tied to my kids' school schedule, and we get ready at the same time, and some of us leave at the same time, and summer comes and that's going to change for me. I'm going to have to watch my clock a little more carefully. And
yeah, for me, I can't believe how quick I can get ready when it's just me. Like I kind of gain time in the summertime because the kids stay in bed. So,
well, I'm excited. The office can get some more hours out of us now that it's summer.
Yeah, we'll see.
Right. Not gonna
Despite
happen.
vacations.
my kids don't care as long as they don't have to think about school for at least some time. So.
Yeah, it's a great time of year. Yeah. We can definitely agree on that. And I think your point, too, about just taking a break once in a while and having some downtime is really important in every aspect of our life, and especially in the active life and our right. and our Huntsman World Senior Games talk today. I mean, I think athletes have up and down seasons, and that's really important, both mentally and physically, and that should, kind of be a, gauge to if it's good for athletics, it has to be good for everyone. Yeah. According to Michelle.
Yeah. And that's perfect. That's a perfect segue to bring our guest in. Because we have athletes that work hard all year long, and they compete in so many different places, but they need breaks. But today our guest is Charlie, and Charlie Slater. He comes to us as a athlete of not just the Huntsman World Senior Games, but in many different venues. So, Charlie, welcome.
Thank you.
We're extremely glad to have you on today. So I think that we'd like to know just a little bit more about you. So if you wouldn't mind, give us just a real quick rundown of who you are, where you come from, and kind of introduce yourself.
Well, you mentioned I'm Charlie Slater. I'm 72 years old. Started out in the Bronx, New York. Lived there for about 14 years. Moved to South Florida, which I call a suburb of New York City, actually. And went to school, University of Florida. Graduated in '69. Got a job with Delta Airlines in 1970. So at this point, I was married, met my wife at college, and moved to Atlanta for a job with Delta Airlines. And I was with them for 25 years. As far as table tennis goes, I actually started out in the Bronx. There was a table in the basement, and learned to play a little bit there, but didn't get serious really till, I guess, 1970, when I saw that Delta Airlines had a tournament every year. So got a little more interested in it, joined the sanctioning body, which is the USATT. You get ratings that way, and went on to tournaments and stayed busy with it. And to this day, I live in Decatur, Georgia now, which is right outside Atlanta, and started a table tennis program at the Decatur Rec Center, and it's going quite well. I started that in 2009, and we meet twice a week and have good turnouts.
That's awesome. Well, that's a very quick overview of many years, right?
Yes, it is.
Well, tell us let's start out in the beginning with the Bronx. Tell us how growing up in the Bronx shaped this part of your life going into table tennis. Well,
the table was there, so the kids around the neighborhood would play down there. That's when there weren't dirty clothes on the table. We had to move clothing every now and then to be able to play. But, I just started out there and kind of caught on. I don't know if I mentioned I played in college a little, too. So, I mean, I've been with it for over the years, but didn't get serious, really, or real competitive until I started with Delta Airlines. And they have a tournament every year, and I've been involved in that and ran it for several years. And
that's fantastic.
The competition was great.
Because I think you said that you found out about it in the early 70s. And so I think that that's really neat that they kind of had a corporate wellness program established back then before that was really popular, that they were doing extra things for their employees and encouraging fitness and health. That's That's really neat.
So, Charlie, do you cross disciplines? Do you do more than just table tennis, or is that your thing?
That's pretty much it. As far as sports go, I do. There's a thing called the Wellness Center. My wife and I go and work out there. I try to walk a mile. I have with 8 pounds in each hand, and do other, there are different stations where you can do work on the lower back and shoulders and abdomen, that kind of thing. So keep active, but table tennis is the main thing I do now.
Okay.
And how often do you play a week, or what goes into your table tennis game?
Well, we play, it's available twice a week. Usually it's just Thursday for me. But there are tournaments here and there, so I do some traveling. Of course, the Huntsman is very big on my list. This will be my 12th consecutive year.
Oh, congratulations.
And, it's interesting. The competition is really, well, of course it's worldwide, and the competition is really keen. In the 12 years, I've only had 2 bronze medals, but I'll keep coming back. I mean, that's not stopping me. As long as I'm able, I'll continue to compete.
Well, we're really honored that you support us that way. Last year was my first year at the games, and that was one of the top sports that I was so amazed at. I mean, the hand-eye coordination and the speed of that ball going across the table. I mean, that is not the table tennis I play in my garage. It is really
Well, most of us play ping pong, right?
Yeah, I call it ping pong. I guess there is a difference.
So tell us what's the difference between those?
When you get serious, then it becomes table tennis.
Is that how it works?
I have a quick story.
Great.
When I was 62, I played this fellow. This was at the Huntsman. He was 82, and I played my heart out, and the guy beat me. He was an Asian fellow. I'm not sure where he was from exactly, but I was so happy. I took pictures with him, and then we met 3 years later, and I beat him. But hey, the guy's now 85. You got to slow down sometime.
Well, the great thing about a game like that, too, is, I mean, not only the hand-eye coordination, but the mental alertness that it takes to compete in a sport like that, I think is really outstanding, and especially as you get a little older. So that's wonderful.
Right. There's actually been studies. It seems the game helps improve brain function, and they've actually done some studies with Alzheimer's patients, and it seems to improve. Something about the eye-hand coordination and coordination with the brain.
That's
great. Hopefully it'll keep me young and active.
We're finding that a lot of sports are coming up with those same results, and I really do feel like, we promote active living, and that really is key. Staying active just works your mind, body. It's a total wellness package. Derek and I had the opportunity to do a little square dancing. We try to go and explore the sports that are offered so that we have a better understanding of them. And I was surprised by the mental acuity that it took to listen to what the caller was saying and then do it in a timely manner. Like, that was difficult, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just first of all, interpreting what they're saying, because it's a totally different language. You allemande left, and you turn to your partner and swing, and that actually means something. Those are dance steps,
right?
So you have to know what they're talking about, and then get your body to do it.
Yeah, but I would think that table tennis is the same in regards to the mental acuity that it takes, and I think that's one of the great advantages of seeing our athletes in their senior years performing at such high levels. It's really great.
So, Charlie, I understand that you've done some international travel with this table tennis.
And some awards have been won.
Tell us just a little bit about that. Right. Well, there was it was actually like a organization or a club called WAFIA. It stood for Wings of Friendship Inter-Airline. This was a thing that was operated by 18 or 19 different airlines. Now, Delta was not a member of it, but we were invited guests to one of them. So the first one we attended was in Zurich, Switzerland. And of course, airline people fly free for the most part, and that's why they can do things like this. So what an incredible experience. My wife she doesn't have a whole lot of interest in watching the games because she doesn't really play herself. But when she heard a trip to Zurich, she was very interested. So
as I would.
There were about 4 of us that went with our wives, and what a neat experience. It was like a package deal. Besides the tournament, which lasted over a week, or I guess it was about 4 or 5 days, there was sightseeing involved and just comradeship. It was very well done. So you might say I am an international player. The following year, it was in India, Goa, India, and I just couldn't get enough people interested in going, so we skipped that. And then the next year, it was in Vancouver, but that was in October of 2001. Well, of course, we had 9/11 in 2001. And unfortunately, I mean, we still held it. It was a very somber feel to it. Still had a good time in Vancouver. But that was the last one they ever had because a lot of airlines broke up. People were laid off. It had a tremendous negative effect on the airline industry.
That's unfortunate.
So it was kind of a shame, but I'm hoping someday we can revive it.
Definitely. And meanwhile, you still play in state games and then our games, like you mentioned.
Right.
Is that right?
The Georgia State games are coming up pretty soon, and there are tournaments, local tournaments, all around Atlanta. So I stay active all through the year.
So, Charlie, I have to ask, do you have a favorite opponent?
Favorite opponent? Let's see. Well, there's a league I play in, and there's a particular fellow who is rated higher than me, but for some reason I give him trouble. So, when I beat him, it's especially nice. Yeah. And he's a very good sport. He's a real nice guy, and but on paper he's supposed to win all the time. But he has actually given me more points than anyone else.
Oh, wow.
Something about my style versus his, I guess.
Yeah, that's interesting. So do you have a nemesis? Do you have somebody who you you cringe every time you get paired up?
Trying to think. Well, I can think back to someone at the Huntsman games. This is a female, an Asian lady, who did nothing but defense. I mean, she could just keep it in play for,
Wow. That's
someone actually timed it. They said one of our points lasted like 15 minutes.
Wow.
That's probably exaggeration, but we had a long match, and I finally won, but I was exhausted at the end of it.
Yeah, you can't just concede.
I don't particularly want to face her again.
That's funny.
I tried slamming, and she kept bringing it back. So then I was kind of forced to play her game. So we're just playing keep it in play, and it wore me down.
So what are some of those other little techniques for those of us who are not table tennis players? Like you said, slamming. What are some of the other things that you have to master as you get into the sport?
Well, spin. Spin is a big part of the game, and learning how to read it. Like underspin. If you don't read it properly, you're going to knock it into the net every time. And with topspin, the opposite becomes true. If you hit it kind of straight on, it's going to go off the table. So you make these tiny calculations. That's the thing about it. You're constantly calculating speed and spin. And without even realizing it, you're making adjustments, these tiny adjustments all through the game. So it just comes with experience. I tell people all the time, I'll get shots back, and I don't know what I did exactly. I mean, it's almost like my paddle has its own mind.
It happens so quickly. Well,
it's just
and
a
that's
question
great.
You see where the ball's coming, you have an idea of the speed and the spin, and you're in the right place, and it just goes back, So,
give us a definition of a couple terms like I've heard of chiseling and looping. Like, give us a little idea of what that means.
Well, looping is just adding a lot of spin. You make very little contact with the ball, but it imparts an incredible spin, and the ball will have like an arc. and it'll kind of sail slowly, and then when it hits, it just takes off real fast. But there's side spin, there's underspin. It gets very technical. You have different kinds of rubber that have different effects on the ball. Lots of techniques. For example, they have I use smooth rubber, and it has sponge underneath. Then there is what they call pips out, which is the old paddles you used to with the little pimples that are outside, and some don't. It just has different effects on the ball. Some take spin off, and some rubbers are extremely spinny, and it's real technical.
Well, you've inspired us. I think we need to add this to our sports to learn more about, and I hope that others are inspired too. If you could give one last word of advice, or kind of coming to the end of it here, what would you encourage athletes like you that are your age to do?
Well, I would say stay at it. What I hear a lot is, we have this club where I live here in Decatur, Georgia, and all too often I hear people say, like there's a tournament coming up, and they say, well, I'm not good enough to be in a tournament. The nice thing about table tennis is if you go to tournaments, you get a rating, and then you play within your own rating.
Yeah, that's what we love about the games, is that you have a real opportunity because you play within whatever your sweet spot is, wherever you are and wherever you stand. Hey, we're going to have to cut you off because we're really coming to the end of our show, but we want to thank you so much for coming on. It's a pleasure to talk to you. It's so fun to hear from our senior athletes, and especially those that have come and enjoyed our games for as long as you can. So we really appreciate the support you give us, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks so much. This was a lot of fun.
So, Michelle, the games are underway.
We're getting busy. I'm feeling it. Starting to kick up.
We're 3,900 athletes strong in registration right now. It's averaging from the date of registration opening till today is about 50 athletes a day.
Yeah, and we're setting new records. Our graphs are looking good. So we're really excited that this is our 30th year, and it will hopefully be our biggest year to date.
Yeah, it should be awesome. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us. Please visit our website at www.seniorgames.net.
You said it almost like Jeff. Good job.
Almost. Visit us there. You can find this podcast and all of our previous podcasts there as well. So thank you very much. And everybody, please stay active.